Hello and welcome back to the 410. My name is Adrian Host and we're back here on a Friday on the 410. Big show for you. Of course, we're going to talk about the Orioles and their big win streak. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals, where that game was excitement all the way to the end. And we're going to talk about the WNBA today and get caught up there. Before we do any of that, though, K-Hill Electric on standby for any electrical needs, whether they're big, small. You let them know you heard about them here on the 410, and they'll be on the way with the best service, best price in town, y'all. All right, the Orioles, of course, I wanted to jump on here and tell you all about the exciting game the day before. They played a little earlier than what I could, so we just going to catch up with everything today on a Friday here. Of course, we won that game 3-2 the other night there with Big Young Cade on the mound doing his thing. Like I said, it was all on his shoulders, and he came through. We probably should have pulled him out just a little earlier than what we did, but he definitely got the job done for us. Of course, we had a big home run out of Adley. He's been playing like a madman ever since I let him know that we picked him over Bobby Witt Jr., and so he should be performing just like Bobby Witt Jr., if not better. And he's been doing his thing. Like I said, we got the job done the other night. Then yesterday, my goodness, the party kept on going with Adley and then Gunner. Back-to-back home runs there. And then, of course, we had a great performance on the mound from Zach Eflin there. He's been doing his thing there. So, of course, we got the win. Brian Baker actually came in and got the save instead of Felix, because we've been on the mound a lot lately since we've been on the win streak. So we had to find another closer. And Brian Baker seems like he's pretty comfortable in that closing role. He's closed 2 games out pretty strong there. So, of course, we back up today. Nothing but the expectation of us winning this game against the A's. Just like I was saying the other day, I think we're going to be down there at the stadium on Tuesday against the Tigers, talking about this big win streak that we're on. Of course, everybody in the world is going to be on the Orioles bandwagon, y'all. But we're not going to let them jump on so easy, y'all. We've been riding this thing out since the beginning of the year. Now we're going to sit here and we're going to watch the fruits of our labor, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. These boys are primed and ready to go here. It looks like we got Mr. Dean Krim on the mound today. Like I said, they go up against the Oakland A's at 10 o'clock. I'm expecting another sweep out of them. Of course, the bats, they weren't even clicking like they should be out there in Seattle. We had a couple good games out of a few people. But if they put it all together, y'all, we should be able to roll through this series here with the A's and get ready for the big series against the Tigers next week on our homestand. All right, getting into the NBA last night, of course, we were all waiting for the NBA Finals to happen, and everybody, I think, expected OKC to win that game yesterday. And starting off, I even talked to somebody right around halftime, and I said, man, it looked like OKC might blow them out, man. They don't look like they're ready for the action. Well, they fooled us because they came back out, and just like Indiana seems to have been doing all year here, they came back out and they did their thing. Tyrese Halliburton, who was 5 for 5 in those clutch, ice-cold, game-winning shot situations there. He came through again for him, dropping the hammer on OKC. Absolutely had everybody stunned in the building, had everybody stunned all over the world, because nobody expected Indiana to go in there yesterday and beat them in game 1, except for the people that were walking around with the Tyrese Halliburton jersey on. All of them let me know yesterday that they thought that they could get the job done. I said, that's a tall task in OKC. Well, SGA, he had a shot at the end of the game. He could have probably brought this thing home for him. Didn't come through there, and that's the difference in the game there. You had somebody performing in the clutch like Tyrese Halliburton, even though he didn't have the best game. And like I previewed here, I figured that the pressure that they were going to put on him was going to continue to keep his numbers a little low. But when it counted, Halliburton, he came through, did what he needed to do. They stole home court advantage in this series. So now we absolutely have us an NBA Finals, y'all. Next game will be on tap here, and I think that'll be tomorrow. So, of course, we're going to stay tuned, and we're going to pay attention to that, and we're going to see how that goes. But I think we're in for a nice, long NBA Finals here. All right, getting into the WNBA yesterday. There were no games on Wednesday. I didn't jump on here yesterday and talk about these. But we had the Liberty going up against the Mystics. Of course, the Liberty still undefeated in the season here, and they kept on rolling against the Mystics. They won the game 86-78, and one more game was on tap yesterday. It was the Phoenix Mercury going up against the Valkyries. They won this game 86-77. We have a couple games on tap today. We have the Dream. Of course, our own Brianna Jones. She'll be in the building there going up against the Sun. So, of course, we're taking the Dream in this game. They're minus 10.5. I think they'll get the job done against the Sun. And then, of course, we had the Sparks going against the Dallas Wings here in the last game of the night. The Wings, they only had 1 win this season, so we're going to go with the Sparks in this game. They're -2.5. I look for them to get the job done here in this game. Of course, thank you for your time today. It was a quicker show than I wanted to today, but I got a lot going on here for the 410, trying to get that 410 package to us. We're going to talk about that next week sometime. Of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this. Please like, share this with somebody. We're going to continue to grow this here on the 410. And once again, to all my service members and Marines, if you need help, please reach out to somebody. If they're not going to answer, comment me right here on the 410, and I'll get up with you and we'll talk personally. I'm trying to tell you that's very important. And make sure you check in with your family and friends. You never know when you're going to see them again. Once again, this is Adrian here. Please have a great day. This is the 410.